Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatima Nasir from University of Education, Lower Mall Campus, Lahore. I will teach you the subject evolution and principle of systematics. And our topic of discussion is history of taxonomy. So let's start with today's lecture, that is about history of taxonomy. First of all, what is the difference between taxonomy and systematics? Let's have a look. Taxonomy. Taxonomy is the branch or is the study that based on characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature. Means in the term taxonomy, we study about the characteristics of animals, identification of animals, their classification and their nomenclature. In easy words, you can say taxonomy is the branch in which we give the names to the organism. It's all about naming of the organisms by studying their characteristics, their identification, and then their classification and nomenclature. It's a discipline of classifying organisms into taxa. Now, what is taxa? Taxa means different categories, different levels or different ranks. So what does taxonomy do? Taxonomy divides the animals, or taxonomy categorize the animal at different levels, at different ranks. In the next slide, it will be more clear to you by a diagram. Classification plus nomenclature is equal to taxonomy. Means classification of animals from which class they belong, either they are animal or plant, what they are, and then nomenclature, their names. So the naming of the organisms make up the term taxonomy. Then what is systematics? Study of biological diversity and evolutionary relationships among the organisms. In systematics, we study about the diversity, biological diversity of animals and their evolutionary relationships. Means how the animals relate to each other. So systematics is a broader term than taxonomy, because in systematics we also study about the diversification of the species and their evolutionary relationship. So the taxonomy plus phylogeny is equal to systematics. What is phylogeny? Phylogeny means the evolutionary relationship among the organism, means how the organism relate to each other. It was the difference between taxonomy and systematics. Taxonomy, the naming of the organism, and systematics, the study of biological diversity and their evolutionary relationship. From this flowchart, from this diagram, you can understand the term taxonomy. As I have told you that taxonomy categorize the organism into different categories, into different ranks, or into different taxa. Here each color is denoting one category. Okay, for example, number 1, kingdom is one category, phylum is second category, class is third category. Or you can use the word taxa. First taxa, kingdom is first taxa, phylum is second taxa, class is third taxa, order fourth taxa, family fifth taxa, genus, and then the species. And one more thing, that at the uppermost level, at the kingdom level, it's a we are talking about the general we are talking generally about the animals. Means kingdom can be kingdom plantae or kingdom animalia. If we are talking about kingdom animalia, then we are talking about the animals of the whole world. Okay, and as we are moving towards the species level, we are getting more specific. Species will show the more specific organisms. Okay, moving to the next slide. Now the difference between microtaxonomy and macrotaxonomy. You must know about the terms micro and macro. Micro means small, macro means large. So microtaxonomy deals with the study of variations, relationships, and characteristics on a smaller scale. It deals only with the problems related to species. Means microtaxonomy deals all the aspects but on a smaller scale. As we have studied about different hierarchical categories, that is kingdom, phylum, class, order, genus, subgenus, and species level. So microtaxonomy deals with all the problems and principles and different things on only at the level of species. Macrotaxonomy deals with the study of groups at higher taxonomic ranks. It deals with the problems and principles of higher taxa from subgenus and above only. Microtaxonomy deals with all the aspects, all the problems, all the principle on the level of above than the species. Means kingdom, phylum, class, order, genus, and subgenus. Microtaxonomy deals only at the species level, and macrotaxonomy deals with all other species with all other levels except species level. Levels of taxonomy. There are three levels of taxonomy. There are three levels of taxonomic study. The first level is alpha taxonomy, second one is beta taxonomy, and the last one is gamma taxonomy. At the level of alpha taxonomy, species are identified, characterized, and named. Means only at the level of alpha taxonomy, only identification, characterization, and naming of the species is done. Then on the level of beta taxonomy, organisms are arranged into different categories, into different hierarchical categories. As we have learned about the hierarchical categories again and again: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So beta taxonomy categorize the organism into different hierarchical categories. The last one is gamma taxonomy, that concerned with all the biological aspects of taxa, their evolutionary rates and trends. All the evolutionary history of the organism is studied in the level of gamma taxonomy. History of taxonomy. As you know that it's the human nature that he is always curious to know about its surrounding, to know to give the names to its surrounding, so naming and classifying our surroundings has probably been taking place as long as mankind has been able to communicate. Obviously something is present in your surrounding, you must be curious to know about that thing. If you don't know the name of that thing, you will give some name and so that you can communicate now. So that's why we are saying that since the mankind, since the humans starting they were able to communicate each other, they start giving the names and they start the classification of their surrounding things, so that they can call things, they can give some name to the things. Most early classification began as list of medicinal plants. The very first classification was being done on the plants. Taxonomy's first father was the Greek philosopher Aristotle, sometimes called the father of science and sometimes called the father of biology. Aristotle is called as the father of science or father of biology. He developed first widely accepted system of classification. What he did, he developed the first widely accepted system of classification. Means he classified the organisms, and at that time it was widely accepted. Next point, Aristotle's view of life was hierarchical. Hierarchical means things are related to each other step by step. So Aristotle's view was that he assumed that creatures could be grouped in order from lowest to highest, with the human species being the highest. It will be clear to you with the help of this diagram, this flow chart. As you can see on the lowest level of this picture, rocks means minerals, then plants, lower animals, higher animals, and humankind. Aristotle said that things came into existence step by step, starting from the very lowest at the very lowest level, the minerals, the rocks, then plants came into being, then step by step lower animals, then higher animals, and at the end mankind. He believed that species were fixed and unchanging, and this view persisted for the next 2000 years. Means they believe that species do not change, no change occur in the species, they are fixed. Aristotle classified all organisms into two groups, that is, animals and plants. Then he subdivided plants into herbs, shrubs, and trees, and some divided animals into groups by characteristics. Means animals with blood in one group, animals without blood in one group, animals that live on water in one group, and animals that live on land in one group. Okay, so the Aristotle's first classification was that two categories or two groups. One was Animalia group and second was Plantae group. He subdivided all the all the organisms on the earth into two categories, animals and plants. Okay, moving to the next slide. In the 16th century, with all of new plants and animals that were being discovered, many scientists wanted a systematic way to name and classify them. As with the passage of time, evolutionary changes occur on the world. As we have studied in the previous slide, that Aristotle's view was that species are fixed, but as we know, as we have studied about evolution, it was not fixed. With the passage of time, they came to know that species are not fixed, they change. uh, Changes occur in the animals, in their lifestyle, because of the changes in the environment. So, till the 16th century, many more new plants and animals were being discovered. Then, scientists wanted a proper systematic way to name and classify them. Many of the botanists were also physicians who were trying to find new medicines. In 18th century, one more taxonomist, Carolus Linnaeus, classified organisms according to their structural and physical similarities. He developed a naming system that's still used today, as he called the father of taxonomy. As Carolus Linnaeus is a very big name in the field of taxonomy, because he classified the organism according to their structural and physical similarities on the basis of their structure as well as their physical appearance. He developed a naming system that we still use today, that is binomial nomenclature. We are still using this system today. He called the father of taxonomy, as in the previous slides we have studied that Aristotle, known as father of science or father of biology, and Carolus Linnaeus or Carl Linnaeus is known as father of taxonomy. He developed the modern system of naming known as binomial nomenclature. Aristotle thus classified the organism into two categories, animals and plants, and this Carl Linnaeus introduced a modern system of naming the animals, naming the organisms, that is known as binomial nomenclature. You all must be familiar with the term binomial nomenclature. Bi means two, nomial means name. What is binomial nomenclature? In binomial nomenclature, Carl Linnaeus introduce a method to giving names to the animals. How we can give the name to animals? uh, let's have a brief introduction about binomial nomenclature. He said that we can give the name to one organism by two names, means by using two names we can give name to one organism, and that two name, one name will be genus name, generic name, and one name will be species name. Okay, and how to write a scientific name? As you know, genus, the first letter, the first alphabet of the genus name will be capitalized, and the first letter of species name will be small. Okay, and you can also underline them or italicize them. You can underline the name or you can italicize the name. You can use one option from these two after writing the name. Uh, a scientist Mayer described the history of taxonomy in four periods. They were, as with the evolutionary changes, a scientist Mayer described or divided the taxonomic history in four periods: first, second, third, and fourth. Now we will study about these periods one by one. Moving to the next slide. First period. The first period was study of local fauna. You must know what is fauna. Fauna is the study of animals. Native of primitive tribes were excellent naturalists. Means the native, the people, or the scientists who live in the primitive times, they were excellent naturalists. They were very much curious to know about their surroundings. Study of fauna came from contribution of Greek scholars as well. Aristotle, known as the father of biological classification, referred to major groups of animals as birds, fishes, whales, and insects. In the first period, there are two major forms of classification. The first one is downward classification, and the second one is upward classification. So, first, downward classification. As downward means down. Taxonomy based on local fauna reached on its peak by the work of Carl Linnaeus. As Carl Linnaeus started working on it, and he introduced a hierarchical system for the classification of organism. Means the link between the link or the relatedness between the organism from one level to the next level. So Carl Linnaeus basically worked on two things. One is the giving of a name to the animal, that is binomial nomenclature, and also the hierarchical system, means the animals or the organisms are related to each other. The method of downward classification are principles of logical division, which consist of dividing larger groups by dichotomy into smaller groups. Means in a larger group we will have we can have all the means if we are talking about a group animal is the larger group, and it will have all the animals of the world. So what he did, he introduced downward classification, and divide a larger group by dichotomy into similar groups. Dichotomy means divide the different groups into different categories. Okay, means division into different categories. So animals were categorized into two groups: blooded and bloodless. Then blooded animals were more classified into two-footed and four-footed. As you can see in the picture, that we are classifying the animals from upward to downward. That's why this is called as downward classification. Linnaeus adopted the principle of downward classification in 15th edition of his book Systema Naturae. Linnaeus, Linnaeus wrote a book Systema Naturae about the classifications. So he used the principle of downward classification in the 15th edition of his book. He for the first time applied binomial nomenclature to animal kingdom. Now, as you can see in the picture, these are taxonomic groups: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. As you can see on the red color arrow, it's going from kingdom towards species, from the upper level to the lower level. So it's denoting that increase in similarity, decrease in numbers at the species level. And thus, what is species? In the species, the organism will be very much similar. So it will have increase in the similarity and decrease in the numbers. Because decrease in number, why decrease in number? Because the organism of that particular species will be in that will be in this category now. That's why we are saying increase in similarity means similar organisms, and decrease in numbers means only the animals related, or only the animals related to that category will lie in the species. And if you see the blue arrow, it's going from lower to upward. Decrease in similarity and increase in numbers. It means that if we go from species level to a kingdom level, as you know, kingdom is a broader term. If we talk about animal kingdom, the all the animals will be included in the animal kingdom. If we're talking about kingdom Plantae, then all the plants of the world will fall in the kingdom Plantae. So when we go in the upward direction, similarities will be less and number will be more, because we are talking about all the animals in the upper levels. Okay, and when we move downward, we will get more specified. Moving to the next slide. Upward classification. By the mid of 18th century, the shortcomings of downward classification were recognized. Shortcomings was that in the downward classification, and in the downward classification at the very last level, we are more specified. We can have knowledge about only that specific species, and so gradually it was gradually the downward classification was replaced by the upward classification, because in upward classification we can have a much more knowledge, uh, and by dividing the by placing the animals into a hierarchical system, a hierarchy which show the relatedness to the previous one, we can have broad knowledge. That's why upward classification was much more accepted than downward classification. It consists of assembling species by inspection into a group of similar or related species, and forming hierarchy by again grouping of similar taxa of next level rank. Means similar or related organism will be in one group, then it will form a hierarchy with the next group of similar taxa. This thought was applied by a botanist in 1873, and later on nearly by all the zoologists. Means with the passage of time, zoologists also convinced with this type of classification. This shift from downward classification to upward classification was a major philosophic change. Now moving to the next second period, that is acceptance of evolution. Evolutionary thought was widespread in 18th century but owes its foundation to second period. Darwin believed in fixity of species, but after observing natural fauna in Galapagos Island, he began to believe in the plasticity of the species. Fixity means fixed, not changed. Plasticity means can be changed, not fixed. So Darwin believed that species are fixed, no change occur in the species. But when he visit the world in his research, and he studied the natural fauna, he observed the natural fauna on the Galapagos Island. He began to believe in the evolution of species, the changes in species. As we know that with the changes in the environment, species also get changed. They are also get changed na, according to their environment, in order to survive in that environment. Taxonomists were greatly influenced by his idea. Large number of new species were discovered and described. As we are saying, acceptance of evolution. So with evolution, a very large number of new species were discovered and described. Third period, population systematics. The greatest development of modern taxonomy started about 1930, when the workers realized that linear species based on one or two specimens are not perfect as those which are based on population. As we have discussed in the previous slide, that at species level we have less knowledge, and at the population level we are talking about large number of organisms. So due to this, Mayer considered species as a group of interbreeding natural population. Obviously, when in a species different mating partners interbreed, and they will make new organisms or new offspring, then it will have more variety in them. This idea of population taxonomy was useful in developing the polytypic concepts. Poly means many, type means typic means types, यानी कि many types of concepts. With the idea of population taxonomy was useful in developing the many type of concepts related to this population systematics. New terms like new systematics and biosystematics were added to extend the taxonomic theory. As with the passage of time, changes was being occurring in the organism, so new terms were also being involved in the taxonomy. Moving to the next slide. The publication of the book New Systematics became a landmark in the history of taxonomy. A new book, New Systematics, was published on the history of taxonomy. Thus, taxonomy got a new label of biological taxonomy. By 1955, taxonomy reached such a status that it was called taxonomic explosion. We are saying it explosion because very much work was being done in the field of taxonomy. That's why they use the word taxonomic explosion. Fourth period, that is about current trends. New systematic deals exclusively with species, means at present times, systematics is dealing with all the known species of the world. The present day taxonomic work include all available differences and similarities. Instead of morphology as an original base, phylogenetic adaptations, embryological patterns, biochemical variations, genetic variabilities, similarities, behavioral characteristics, these all are applicable to taxonomic study. In the very beginning, organisms were classified on the basis of their morphological characteristics and their resemblance with each other. But nowadays or present times, all these parameters which are mentioned here are also applicable to taxonomic study. With morphology, all these parameters are also included in the taxonomic study. It was all about today's lecture.
Thank you, students, for your concentration. We will meet in our next lecture. Till that, Allah Hafiz.